Hello, everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Samson Properties, and what are we here for?
This is for this week's Market Snapshot.
Yay! What's happened in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 5 days and in the last 7 days in under 5 minutes, plus a little bit more for contract trends.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, so this top graph we're looking at, the black squiggly line on the top is buyer activity. That's how many homes went under contract this past week. And then the teal line, that is the seller activity. That's how many new homes came on the market this week.
That's right. And what's this down here?
Okay, down there we have whether it's a buyer or seller's market. The midline there is an even market. It's beneficial to both. It's wonderful. Above the line is the seller's market. That's where buyers, you're dealing with more competition
yep.
and maybe aren't getting as many contingencies. The higher it goes up, the worse it is for you. Conversely, the lower the buyer's market, that is where homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. Buyers have an easy job. They can bid lower, get more contingencies. It's harder for sellers to move their homes.
That's right.
Where are we?
It's interesting. Wow. So we are, it's in the media, you're hearing that the market, house prices are coming down and so on. They are in some areas, but in our area, it is not necessarily happening. If you look at buyer activity, you can see that it's kind of flatlined over the last few weeks, but it's important to notice that we're sitting right here today. And last year we were sitting right around the same area. So while everybody's talking about how buyer activity is slowing down, it's actually pretty much exactly where it was last year.
Where we would expect it to be right here before the holidays.
That's right? Exactly right. Inventory is sitting a little bit higher than it was last year, but it's not super significant. It's maybe, these are new properties that came on the market. These aren't properties that have sat on the market, but it's only about 10% higher than it was last year.
I think we're going to continue to see that dip, just like we did last year, again, because of the I really hope the microphone didn't pick that. Gross.
You all right?
I'm okay.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Cut that out.
Okay.
I think we're going to continue to see that dip with both of them just because we're right before the holidays.
That's right. Yeah, you can see the trend kind of happens with, this is about Thanksgiving week, little pickup in beginning of December, and then we drop down for the end of the holidays.
Yeah. And
then once we hit January, it's gangbusters for everything.
Yep.
So that means for buyers, again, we've been hitting on this, and I just had a buyer consultation last night letting them know that right now is the best time to buy, even though inventory may be a little bit lower. They're going to have a lot less competition.
Yeah, and it's a good time to sell too for the tax benefits, right? If you can still close before the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so and for sellers, even though the buyer activity is a little bit lower than it is throughout the rest of the year, those buyers are very serious. So it still is a good time to be on the market. So if you compare the gap here, the supply versus demand gap, that puts us into this seller's market versus buyer's market. And you can see that we've been slowly increasing the last 2 weeks. I think that has to do with the interest rates. I think that has to do with the government shutdown ending. So we're starting to see that buyer activity pick back up. And this could continue. My mouse here.
Yeah, I was looking at it. If it does what it did last year.
Yep, it'll spike up again.
Spike up. But is that March or is that still?
No, this is this day last year.
Okay.
So same time frame.
Yeah.
So we actually increased the week before Thanksgiving, which is where we are, and then Thanksgiving goes down. Week after Thanksgiving, then we go up.
Yeah, there's usually a bump of buyers where they suddenly get this major urge to be in the house before Christmas and before the new year. They want to start the new year off.
That's right.
In the new place. So that I love working with them.
That's right.
They're so happy.
So what does this mean on the contracts? So if you look at Cardinal Title, they received 169 contracts in the last week. We're going to focus on the Virginia market. So you can see that only 34% of properties went under contract for less than the asking price in the last 7 days, which is down significantly. The week before, it was at 53%.
Yeah, it was roughly half of them.
That's that click up in that buyer activity. You can see days on market, about 47% of the properties are leaving the market within 22 days, 53.
Yeah, they are starting to sit a little longer still. That's staying.
Yeah, what's interesting here is even the 53% that sat 22 days plus, only 34% went under asking. Right. So that means that 19% of these still went at asking or above. So that time, the time frame, it doesn't exactly.
Yeah, so what that means for buyers and sellers alike is just because you're seeing something is on the market for 14 days or 3 weeks, it doesn't mean you can go in and
Start
necessarily get a
lowballing.
deal,
That's
right?
right.
Ask your agent and say, hey, can we get a deal? Is it priced right? All the questions. It's not a definite.
That's exactly right. Yep. The contingency stayed about the same, about 3/4 getting the finance and the appraisal contingency, actually a little bit higher on appraisal. Inspection contingencies dropped down just a little bit. Last week it was about 72 or 3%, I think, that got the inspection contingency. So a little bit lower, but still the majority of buyers are getting their protections. So this is where it becomes important from a buyer's perspective is if that seller's market continues to increase, these contingencies that you're getting in contracts are going to be decreasing.
Right.
We just had a buyer that put an offer in on a property. It was a very good offer. It went above asking price. It had all the contingencies in it, and they lost to the other buyer because that buyer waived some contingencies. So we may see those starting to go away again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is across all price points. Like that's happening in your $400,000, and this one was almost 1.8. You know, I mean, it's
happening.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. If you have any questions, do you have anything else to put in?
Nope.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. If you have any questions, give us a call at
703-783-2143.
That's right. All right. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.